And you ain't black.
Howdy, 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 howdy. Howdy, howdy. Hello, everyone. It is Watchmen Wednesdays. Wait, no, it's not Watchmen Wednesdays. Where are we at today? Uh-oh. Wednesday?
You got me.
It's
Is it
Tuesday.
or Wednesday?
Oh, gosh.
You have me confused. It's
I'm-
Taco Tuesday.
It's Taco Tuesdays. I didn't get my tacos today, but you know what? Darn it.
No, I have
Okay,
lasagna.
guys.
I have
I'm sorry.
lasagna.
Yeah, lasagna. Check you out. All
I
right,
have
cool.
lasagna.
Awesome, man. I had lasagna a couple weeks ago. It was delicious, man. Listen, I'm a big fan of lasagna. So yeah. If anyone out there knows how to make up a mean dish of lasagna, let me know. Because I love lasagna.
Stoveners.
Absolutely.
Stoveners. Frozen.
So we got Liberty Warrior in the house. LW, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. How you doing today, man? Talk to me.
I'm doing so great. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be on your show tonight. I see I'm looking at chat right now. I see a few of my people in there. Chase is one of my mods. Calamity Girl is a new viewer of ours who just showed up tonight from Wyoming, and she didn't get a chance to speak because she was a little choppy. But I'm telling you, Calamity, call back next time. We'll get you on. I got Bubba Morris in there, longtime fan, Karen C. Just so many people that support LWN. So
awesome.
You know what? Do us a favor. This guy needs you to smash the like button.
Yes.
Subscribe and share.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. I really do, guys. And guys, I appreciate you guys coming to the channel. Those of you who are new here, I mean, it's a blessing to have you. You know, I really appreciate it. I'm very, very humbled, very thankful. I appreciate that. So listen, tell us a little bit for my audience. Give us a little introduction. You know, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out monologue, but just give us a little introduction about yourself, Mike.
Well, I go by Liberty Warrior. That is the name that God gave me when I answered the call for him, from him to start my own YouTube channel. And believe me, I was very hesitant about it. I did not want to do it, but he called me to do it. So we call the start of this whole thing, which it became Liberty Warrior Nation, as a man in his laptop. And I really just kind of stepped out in faith. And here we are almost 2 years later. We've got tens of thousands of followers on multiple platforms. We're on Frank Speech, every platform out there we possibly can be on. And we're just getting started.
Awesome. Wow. That is awesome. So prior to you starting your channel, so what was the journey? What came to you? Like, what was it, an epiphany or something that just came over you? Or what was the motive behind actually starting your channel?
Well, honestly, Neil, the real Unwoken is I've been an electrician for almost 30 years.
Wow.
I'm used to working industrial, commercial, residential. I made a pretty good career, very well respected, and a great reputation all over this country, traveling 100,000+ a year, 140, 150,000 a year.
Wow.
I've known since I was a child that God had something for me. I just never knew what it was. And I walked in the flesh and was of the world for decades. I gave my life to Christ when I was probably 11, 12 years old. But of course, you know, teenage years, drinking, partying, being in the world, lived in the world, like I said, for decades, and something very traumatic happened to me in 2017, and I rededicated my life to Christ. And in that moment, I asked God, I said, God, I know there's something that you need me to do. I've felt it my entire life. What is it? He told me, not now, not yet. And so fast forward to 2020, and there's certain things I just won't say on your channel because I don't want to get you taken down. But the events that happened in November of 2020 really fired me up. And that's when God said, I want you to start a YouTube channel. And I told him, nah, I just don't. I don't want to. I'm afraid, to be honest with you. I don't want to put that target on my back.
Right.
And he kept nudging me. And finally, I said, all right, God. After I watched a couple other influencers that looked right in the camera and said, get off the couch, get in the game, and start your own channel, I felt like God was talking directly to me. And so I did that. And he told me, well, I need you to be of sober mind. So I did away with all the vices, drinking, smoking, all that stuff. I need to be clear-minded because you know as well as I do, we're in a spiritual battle for the soul of this country. You know, Biden has said it best. We're in a battle for the soul of this country. Problem is Biden is wanting to take the soul of this country even darker than what it is now.
Absolutely.
It's up to us, the patriots, the God-fearing, God-loving Christians, to bring that soul of this nation back to the light and back to Jesus Christ and put God first in this country.
Wow, that's amazing, man. So since you brought up the doddering old fool, our president Joe Biden, I'd like to ask you, so where do you think the direction of our nation is headed? Because people are you got your segment of folks who are sort of sanguine about what the events of the election and things have taken place, and you got people who are just kind of just tapped out. They're just numb. They don't want to talk about it. Where do you think we are headed as a nation?
Well, if I have to be frank, if us Christians, of us patriots, do not put our differences aside, not worry about color, not worry about sex, not worry about our past or the littlest things. This guy's wearing a blue shirt and this guy's wearing a red shirt. If we don't unite and stand up for the rights of children, for the unborn children, we don't stand up for the Constitution of the United States that the left continuously encourages putting it through the shredder, we're headed for a fall. You're going to see a fall of a nation that is so catastrophic, it's going to landslide and take the world with it.
Wow. So do you think that there's an attack on masculinity? Because I mean, I know.
How long we got there?
I know. Because the reason why I ask is because, in every society, men, we are the protectors. We are the protectors of women and children. We fortify our nation. We fortify our country to make sure it is safe from the predators, from foreign invaders, so on and so forth. But what I see right now is I see more men weaker than ever before. They have completely just given up the burden of responsibility in regards to protecting our nation and our children and our women. So circle right back to the question. Do you think today there is a covert attempt, concerted effort to destroy masculinity?
I think there's a conservative effort to destroy masculinity. There is a war against men and women. Okay, so this goes back 40 plus years. It has been done and studied on masculinity, on testosterone, and our levels of testosterone are half what they were of our grandfathers who fought in World War II. That is a fact. That is provable.
I read that study.
And then you throw in, and man, we can go on for hours and hours and hours. You throw in our food, how the soybean drops your testosterone level in men, lotions, shampoos, deodorants, medication, big pharma,
absolutely,
you name it. And I'm telling you right now, the male population of America and also the world population has been weakened probably more than 50%. And they have created a generation of men who do want to just give up. They're not the fighters that we used to be. Think about our grandfathers. If they would be alive today, we'd already be at war. We would already took over this this cabal and this evil that is running DC. They would have never put up with it. Then let's flip the coin and go to the women of our world. There is a battle and a war against women. Look at how they're putting men in women's sports. Look at how they've for years by design. This is all by design. Look at how they've encouraged women to get out of the house and quit raising children and go out and work in the workforce. And I don't mean any disrespect to the women, but it's our government that has forced these taxes of burden upon the American people to where a man can't go out and provide for his family anymore. It takes two parents to provide for a family. And then you go into the single parents, where men and women that are single parents out there are working their butts off to pay the bills, and they have to rely on the government to raise their kids by putting them in public education. There is a war against men and women. They want our children confused, so they don't know if they're a boy today or a girl tomorrow or a frickin' cat. Even schools here in Idaho have litter boxes. This is real. They have litter boxes in the bathroom.
That's insane.
For the high school students who feel like they might want to be a cat or a dog today and use the litter box. Our kids are so confused. How in the heck can a male today defend their family when they don't even know if they're a man, woman, cat, or dog?
Oh gosh,
you want the truth? That's the truth.
We're in bizarro land, man. We are in bizarro land. Everything has completely inverted. You don't know what's right from wrong, wrong from right. I think it's a lot of social engineering going on. But my question is how did we allow this to happen? I mean, it seemed like this has been a gradual process. It's been kind of incrementally kind of happening right before our eyes. How did we just allow this to happen and stick our heads in the sand for so long and not notice this and stop it at the onset of it?
Well, you said that you went to higher education in Louisiana, right?
Yeah, I did. Okay. Unfortunately.
Well, one of the things there in Louisiana that a lot of people love to eat, and I enjoy eating it, I've had it before, is frogs, right? So how do you boil a frog?
Oh, there you go.
You put him in water.
Put him in water.
You can't crank it up all the way or he's going to jump out of the pot, right? So you got to turn it up just a little bit at a time, right? So we have become a nation of tolerance. We tolerate things. We're groomed. We're programmed. You look at the propaganda machine, which is called lamestream media. You look at all the sitcoms that we started watching in the 90s, where Will and Grace first came out, and we had our first gay man out there on national television in a sitcom. We were groomed. We were programmed. Hey, I know that I'm against this, but you know what? After a year or two of watching Will, he's not so bad. He's just a guy trying to make it in America. So we tolerated that, and we became desensitized to Will and Grace. And then you start adding on all the other shows that started desensitizing us to all this. We become a nation of tolerance instead of freedom, and a nation of rule of law. And that's why we're at today.
Well, I find it ironic because the party of that espouses tolerance are the ones who are actually intolerant. The left, they're intolerant of what we as conservative Christians would deem as, reprehensible. So how is it that we are still playing by the rules and they're not?
It's because of our faith, and it's because of our morals and our values. We believe in treating thy neighbor better than anyone else, better than ourselves, loving thy neighbor, laying our life down for our neighbor, the golden rule. That's the core value of conservatism and Christian moral values. And so we're not those people that are into violence, rioting, the summer of love, the summer of blood of 2020, where you saw the left absolutely melt down and lose their minds. Do you see conservatives out there doing that? Of course, what happened that fateful day in January, they talk about the greatest threat to democracy, even greater than the Twin Towers, even greater than the Revolutionary War.
A shame, man.
It's pure nonsense. The left that says that they accept everybody for who they are absolutely the least tolerant of any group out there, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people either dislike Trump or they love Trump. I happen to be a Trump supporter. I still support the guy. He really accepted people for who they are. Trump's deal was, if you earn it, then you earn his respect, but he's not going to just give it to you. And he really changed, in my opinion, how people are viewed in America. And they, of course, they twisted that and said he was racist and homophobic and a bigot and all this other nonsense, which is purely just propaganda. But it's just the way that we view ourselves as conservatives, that we want to treat people like we want to be treated, and the left can't seem to get a hold of that.
Now, do you think that's a viable means forward as conservatives, is to sort of play the nice guy? Well, listen, I'm not advocating that we relinquish our core values, our principles, and what we stand for as Christians and conservatives. But there has to be a way to circumvent the left's ability to gaslight us when we clearly see clear and present danger in front of us and what's happening with our nature. There has to be a viable means for it. What would you recommend?
Well, somebody once told me that insanity is when you allow your emotions to dictate your intelligence. We got to unplug that emotional roller coaster that so many human beings take part in, and we got to start using our intellect when it comes to that stuff. We can't allow ourselves to get gaslit. But here's the answer to your question. No, we can't be meek anymore. Americans need to be bold. Conservatives need to be bold. Christians need to be bold. The preachers need to be preaching from the pulpit the word of God, the true word of God, not the twisted, tolerant, acceptant of transgender and gay marriage and abortion. The preachers and the churches need to be bold, and we need to have bold actions, and we need to stand together, shoulder to shoulder, shield to shield, not holding the line, but moving the line forward. And we need to take this country back, not kinetic, but through lawful means, through voting, through exercising our rights, standing up for our rights, and trying to convince like-minded Democrats out there that may have been brainwashed and coerced and groomed into thinking a certain way, that, hey, why don't you just step back for a moment and look at the morals, the values that the conservative movement has, and see if you can align with that, because you might find that you believe very similar to the conservatives and that you've been lied to for a long time. We've all been lied to, left, the right. I call out Republicans all the time. There are so many Republicans by name only, it's sickening. And what's worse than the Democrats view of things, the Democrats will tell you to your face what they're going to do. We're going to take your First Amendment. We're going to take your Second Amendment. We're going to shred the Constitution. You know what to expect from a Democrat.
Absolutely.
Problem with Republicans is they'll come to you and say, hey, Neil, you vote me in power this year. I promise you, we're going to do something about what happened in J6. We promise we're going to do something what happened in November of 2020. And guess what? The moment that your vote is counted and they're back in power, they turn their back, they make excuses, and they wait another 4 to 6 years to come back to the American people again and say, hey, I need your vote so we can change this. Hogwash. It's time to clean house.
All right, so let me ask you. So do you think our battle today is as much as a cultural war as it is a political war? Do you think that the conservative message should really infiltrate that cultural sphere to try to really convey to our youth, to liberals that are out there that may be looking for a glimmer of hope or something that they can grasp to from the conservative platform? Do you think it should be that we should focus more on the cultural aspect more so?
Yeah, I think that aspect is just as important as the political aspect of things. The cultural aspect, America has been under attack for a long time. Listen, we are a nation of immigrants, and that's what made America so special, man. We had people coming from Africa, from Italy, from Greece, from Mexico, from Spain, from France. People came here from all walks of life, all around the world. Our founding fathers, our ancestors all migrated here. Why? Because
Absolutely.
America of the free, because of free enterprise, because of a nation of freedom and liberties. And they came here, and those cultures were so important. You know, I love going around and smelling, you know, the Mexican restaurants when I'm downtown, or the Italian restaurants, or heck, we got Hawaiian ones now around here, and Indian food, and all the cultures that made America great. They're all under attack. Everywhere you look, we're being attacked, and it's black against white, red against yellow. They are purposely, by design, trying to divide us and cause division and strife and make us each fight one another when we're supposed to be brothers and sisters of Christ. You know, I don't look at anybody because of their color. I look at them for what's inside. You know, what are their fruits? I heard you talk about this a few times on your show. I talk about it on my morning devotion all the time. You will know them by their fruits.
Absolutely.
And you can do that personally, and you can do that about political parties as well.
I totally agree with you, man. I think it's always it's always about your perception, how you portray yourself out into the world, your conduct, how you treat others. I'm a staunch believer in that. There's always going to be biases. People are always going to make face value judgments. I understand that, but you know, it's really about how you represent yourself. So that's why it's incumbent upon the individual. You know, I get it with this whole woke ideology, which I believe it's a total rejection of the individual and an obsession with the identity. That's what I've come to realize about, you know, this whole woke mentality. And that's what I think what it's kind of being broken down into. That's what our society is devolving to. We're all devolving into an atomized country where we all are just kind of in our own tribal warfare, again, pitted against each other. So yes, I agree with you. It is certainly a concerted effort to divide and conquer, man. Absolutely.
Well, that's how you capture a nation, is you divide and conquer. You know, the Democrats used to push all the time about individuality, and you're spot on.
Right.
You know, a lot of people want to be an individual. You know, they want to be a little bit different, and that's okay. But what they've created now is now everybody's the same, because everybody is now a transgender, and you're going into to human transformation of that, to where nobody's going to be a sex. Everybody's going to be exactly the same. Do people not understand that? This ideology makes everybody exactly the same. There is no identity. And that
carbon
is scary
copy
for me.
Yep.
Yeah, carbon copy. Absolutely. You're 100% correct.
Yeah, that's where we're headed. I mean, that's what I see what's happening. They sort of want us to be relegated into genderless widgets, you know, where there's not much uniqueness or identity or personality one from another. You can't really tell apart one person from another. And again, that is the socialist hegemony there. That is by definition the socialist dystopian worldview they're trying to shove down in our heads, in our minds. So I you know, I'm always leery about groupthink mentality. You know, anytime where there's always a you know, a situation such as BLM, I'll just throw that out there. Black Lives Matter. Now, okay, I don't know of anyone that was marching around campaigning in the country that Black Lives didn't matter. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently, you know, there was a group of people who believe that this country has been marginalizing Black people even to this day. Somehow or another, Blacks are systemically oppressed from equal opportunity, which it's funny because I was so divorced from that reality. So it was hard for me to kind of like understand how am I a victim because you said I am? So I don't know, that always kind of like mind boggle me. Is almost like they put out these narratives and they expect you to believe them because, again, if you say a lie, if you repeat a lie long enough, eventually people start to believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do I believe that there is racism here in America? Absolutely. I think there's still a little bit in corners all over this country. There are people that will never change. There are people that have been raised a certain way,
Yep.
but for the majority of America and Americans, I don't believe that America is a racist country. I think there are political agendas out there that push that narrative for their benefit because they want division between all Americans, and so they're going to push racism on all of us. I'm a white male, 47 years old. I'm a racist. Why? Because I'm a white male and I'm 47 years old. Has nothing to do what my core value is. Has nothing to do with what I believe in. I have all colors of friends,
Mm-hmm.
all cultural of friends in my background, and I treat every one of them the same I treat anyone else. As long as they're good to me, I'm good to them. I show them respect. They show me respect, and more importantly, I want to show people love. I'm on this journey. I'm on this journey to walk a righteous path. I am not a perfect person by any means. I fall every day. I sin. I have to
Mm-hmm.
ask for forgiveness. But on this journey that I'm on, I want to change who I am from the inside out. And I want to show people love and acceptance as long as they're not toxic and they reciprocate that to me. And I think if all Americans were to have a little piece of that, I think you'd see a lot of change across the whole face of America where we get rid of all this racism, we get all rid of all this propaganda and say, you know what, we're not buying into that anymore because it's not true. We're just
Mm-hmm.
all children of God, period.
So how do you think what effect do you think feminism has had in our society today? It seems to me that since the inception of feminism, and I talk about this a lot, but I think this was another political ploy to, of course, divide and conquer. But I see more and more where, and I haven't really concluded this yet, but I'm starting to have the impression that we are living under a gynocentric societal order right now, where it's predominantly female led, and the men are being ostracized from the political discourse. Now, do you think that kind of ties into this whole attack on masculinity to replace, basically just remove men from the equation entirely? Do you think that's um, another attack on masculinity with this whole feminist empowerment movement that we have going on?
I absolutely believe that by design, they want to control men. And listen, I think that the feminine movement was good and bad. I think that there were parts of that movement that women really needed. They needed certain things. They need to be recognized. I believe that women should have the right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
But in that same movement, there was an agenda, an underlining agenda there to transform this nation, just like what you're talking about, to come in and disrupt. And I've heard you say it on your show a few times, the spiritual
Spiritual order. Spiritual
order.
order. Yep.
And a lot of people don't talk about that. You're one of the first people I've heard talk about it in a long time, and that is something that God created for a reason.
Absolutely.
And you have to have that spiritual order. Once we're out of that spiritual order, then you have chaos ensue. You have division and
Yep.
strife, and it really just makes a huge mess of all of this stuff. Now, I'm not one of those people that blame Eve for everything in the Garden of Eden. Adam was well aware of what was going on as well. A lot of guys like to say, "Well, it was your fault." No, it was
Adam
their
was weak.
fault.
Adam was weak.
Adam was a weak man, and the spiritual order is a very important thing that I think people really need to probably step back a little bit and pay attention to, because as this whole face of this experiment, what we call America, changes, and we start getting more and more into that feminine part of it, where women are now leading the country, you know, completely, and the men aren't anywhere there, that's not a good thing, in my opinion.
I agree. I totally agree. One of the things you see that's happening that with the feminist movement, it's pretty much liberated women from the responsibility of their, I would say, their God-given biological imperatives. Women, typically, the highest demographic of unhappy women, and I'll say this all the time, but the highest demographic of unhappy women is a woman who is above the age of 42 years old and college educated and makes annually about $50,000 to $100,000 a year. Because when you're at that age and you're going ever so close to your, you feel the impinging of your mortality. You're getting closer to your death. I mean, your half life. But I think that we have completely de-emphasized the importance of family, and we've kind of adopted this notion that all families are equal, whereas you can have two fathers, you can have single parent households, you can have this. It's kind of become another.
Men can have babies now.
Men can have babies. Two men can have babies. I mean, we've pretty much gone askew from what has been throughout the course of our evolutionary biology, which has been how the way we've been doing things. So can you speak to that a little bit more, man? As far as why is it that family is not talked about more? Why is that important component of just human beings? That because it's very important. Every community is built and predicated on the family structure, because families make up the communities, right?
It's by design, Neil. It's by design. The government has designed this. I mean, listen, the fact of the matter is, most Planned Parenthoods in the early days were put in the projects in the colored neighborhoods. Why is that? Because they wanted them to abort their babies.
Absolutely.
They wanted the fathers taken out of their home and imprisoned. They wanted black mothers to raise their young black sons alone and in poverty by design. That wasn't what God created for us to become. And now it's spread all across this nation. They are destroying the family nucleus because they know that's what America is. And they understand how important the family is, to have a father and a mother in all homes, to have grandparents in all homes. We got away from the family where I mean, heck, a lot of them lived together for a long time. The grandparents, the parents, and the kids all lived under the same household. The grandparents helped mentor the younger kids and help raise the family. And we've gotten away from all that. Now everybody wants to, be a single parent. I can do it alone. And it's all by design to destroy the moral. It's to destroy the moral fabric of America.
Yep, I totally agree. And fun fact here too, LW. So I was reading a study, man, that showed that they polled women prior to I believe the second wave feminism. They polled women as to whether or not they actually wanted the right to vote, and a lot of women did not want the responsibility of being signed up for the draft. So they refused to, they didn't want necessarily to have the right to vote because it came with the responsibility of having gone to the draft. I think, again, that's something that highlights that women have always been protected, and that's always been the male imperative to protect the woman from society or the dangers of our world today. But I just think that's interesting how the propaganda has really penetrated a lot of women today into believing that men are not important when we are the ones who maintain the infrastructure, keep the power grid running. We do the important work here. And this is not to say men are better than women, but I just think the more they interrupt that spiritual order, the more they interrupt that flow, it's just going to lead to more and more detachment from each other, I think.
I think you're spot on, and I saw the show you did with the kickboxer where
Oh,
Pierce Morgan twisted his words. You know what a great show you did there. But that's what the propaganda machine does, though. They take our
yep,
words, they twist it. I don't think that men are better than women. I don't think that at all. I think we're both God's creation, and we were put on this planet for a reason, to be a team. We're supposed to be
absolutely.
uh, uh, teammates. We're supposed to be uh, equals in a certain manner, but when it comes to that spiritual level, we're not equals, and
Nope.
it's hard for people to accept that. But that's the fact of the matter. If you take all technology away, if you go back 1,000 years, 2,000 years, look at the physical stature of a man and a woman, and God created man to protect woman, period.
Hmm.
I totally agree with you 100%. We are supposed to be the breadwinners. We're supposed to be the protectors. The women, God created them to be the nurturers, to help raise the children, not raise the children, but help raise the children, and to be that emotional safeguard for family members to go to the woman, and to be able to be nurtured. And for the man, discipline, protection, safety. And that's how God created us.
Do you think marriage is dying in the West?
I think it's dead.
Oh, think it's dead?
I think it's dead.
Oh,
You look at the numbers right. You look at the numbers right now for divorce. Over half the people that get married get
50%.
divorced.
Yep.
I did a study. I followed a study just the other day. Young adults are marrying at an older age and having less children. The
Yep.
population of the United States is actually going down when it comes to married couples. Now, people are still having kids out of wedlock, and that is something else that is by design. This is all structured for the total, like I said, the total moral decay of America, because they know that they could not take America by force. They had to take America from within.
Yep.
So you had to take the moral value of America away. You had to take the family away. You had to take the father away. You
Yep.
had to distract the children into thinking they're cats and dogs and men and women and all this other stuff. I mean, it is a Sodom and Gomorrah situation, and
Yep.
and you know, it is my belief that you're going to see a revival, not just here in America, but around the world. You're going to see a billion soul harvest, and you're going to see people come back to God, and you're going to see, in my opinion, God's hand is going to really take America by storm, and you're going to see God put back first here in America. Because if it's not, you know the rest of the story. We can roll right into Revelation if you'd like to.
Okay. So do you think that, okay, do you see a red wave in this coming election? Do you see you hear a lot of Republicans, conservatives are talking about it. I don't hear much talking about it. I don't hear much talk about it. I haven't heard much talk about it recently, but do you still believe there's going to be a red wave this coming election?
I think there was a red wave in 2020. And so let's fast forward to 2022 though. Let's fast forward to 2022. I believe there was a red wave in 2020. But you have got people, and I saw Jeffrey the other night, and I hate to call him out, but I thought that you guys had a great back and forth conversation. Hopefully he's listening tonight. Jeffrey, I want
Yeah.
to say hi, brother.
Hey, Jeffrey.
I hope you're listening tonight. Because listen, there are so many Democrats that hey, I'm a Democrat, and I have to say I'm a Democrat type of people that see what they're getting right now.
Yep.
They're getting and see, Jeffrey, you want to come on my show? Come on, brother, because you cannot deny that we have a 40-year high inflation right now caused by the Biden administration.
Biden
We have the
administration.
highest gas prices. We have the highest gas prices ever historically, right? And now they're
Yep.
going to climb again because OPEC has now decided that they're going to reduce production of 2 million barrels a day. So now gas prices are going to go back up. But what is Biden doing? He's trying to pump more of the strategic oil reserves in right before the election to bring prices down so they can do their little victory lap and say, look at what I did, look what I did. We got an open border policy right now that's out of this world. 5 to 10,000 illegal aliens crossing our border every day. So that is the size of Atlanta, Georgia. Every 28 to 30 days is crossing our border unchecked. Okay, you can't dispute that. You have no facts to tell me otherwise, because I can give you piles and piles of facts.
How are we going to sustain all of these people?
How
are we going to sustain it?
You can't sustain it. Our economy is in shambles. He was licking his ice cream cone 2 days ago and sniffing the little girl's hair, telling everybody that the economy of the United States is stronger than it's ever been in U.S. history. You're out of your freaking mind. That's not. You go down to the grocery store and you tell me when you buy a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk if that is the best economy you've ever seen, because that is 30, 40, 50% higher than we paid 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
So we've got the worst foreign policy. We've got the worst foreign policy in history. The world is about to nuke itself. And this current clown administration, which I call the resident in the White House, not the president, he hasn't done anything. He's not going to do anything. He's going to hide in his basement like he did in 2019 and hope it all blows over. This administration is a dumpster fire, and nobody can get on camera and dispute me otherwise. And the failed policies of the Democrat Party is what we need to highlight to everybody who will listen, because do I think that there's going to be a red wave? I think people like Jeffrey and people out there who are struggling right now are going to say, you know what, maybe this crazy LW, maybe he's onto something here. And I got to step back and look at what he's talking about. And when they look at it and say, damn, he's right, they're going to say, maybe I don't want to vote for this guy for another 4 years. Maybe I need to look at a different candidate to change America back to what it used to be, which is make America great again. And I go toe-to-toe with anybody on Trump's policies because I know them all. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, nobody can dispute Trump's policies.
You know what? I would have to disagree with you, because I mean, Biden is actually he's taking steps to try to mitigate the current crisis that we're in. I mean, for example, he signed the Inflation Reduction Act. I mean, come on. I mean,
gasoline on fire, right? So just for Jeffrey or anyone else that needs to know, if you've read the Inflation Reduction Bill, over 80% of that bill is all about the Green New Agenda.
Oh,
so they want to get rid of combustible engines. They want everybody driving electric cars, even though California doesn't have enough power to charge them. Just about 6 weeks ago, the California governor required everyone to unplug their freezers, fridges, don't plug in your electric cars because we're going to have a rolling blackout. And this is only opinion. Okay, this is only opinion. But when you're seeing the stock market rise right now, it is only my opinion, but I believe that they're taking money out of the reduction bill and pumping up the economy because they know the economy is about to collapse.
Oh my God!
I have no facts on that. That's opinion only.
Wow, that is one hell of a theory. Wow, I didn't even consider that. I mean, in my opinion, I just thought it was the entire thing was a boondoggle. I mean, come on.
16 months ago, by facts, I could prove it. They were pumping in $3 billion a day into the U.S. economy to hold it up. That was 16 months ago. They're going to run out of money. We just hit the ceiling of $31 trillion. I want to explain something to your listeners. $31 trillion in debt, but that's not the true debt. We're actually about $133 trillion in debt with all the notes that China owns us, and all the stuff that is out there that they're not accounting for. So let me give you a scenario here. Let's say, Neil, you bring home $1,000 a month, and the mortgage on your house is $1,000 a month, but you have interest on top of that mortgage, which is another $300 a month. You can't afford to pay the interest on your home, right? You can only afford to pay for your home. what happens? You lose your home. What I'm trying to explain to your audience is $133 trillion in debt. We are so close to the interest rate to pay back on that loan is going to be more than what the American economy actually makes in a fiscal year. So the last estimate is America made around $3 trillion a year in revenue, gross revenue. So if we can't make 3 trillion, and if our debt, the interest on that is 4 trillion, what are you going to do? You're short $1 trillion. You're not going to be able to pay back the loans, and when people collect on that, that's where you have the financial collapse.
Yeah. And I don't want to sound all loom and gloom here, or even attempt to prognosticate here, but what does that look like if, when, let's just say China were to come and collect on its return? What would that look like for us as Americans?
Well, it's going to be a situation that I hope everybody's prepared for, because it's going to be one heck of a bumpy ride. I mean, the collapse of so here's the deal. The petrodollar is gone. And if your listeners do not know what the petrodollar is, that's world currency. That's the Western currency that all nations had to have the American dollar to buy oil. All right, that's gone. If your listeners do not know what the Brics deal is, Neil, you need to do a show on it, and I'll be glad to help you. There are 12 nations that have now signed up for Brics. Russia and China are at the head of that. They are getting ready to denounce the world currency, which is known as the Western dollar. The American dollar is about ready to just vanish before your eyes. And when that happens, when Saudi Arabia has, and this is what I've been told, the trigger for the collapse is going to be Saudi Arabia joining Brics. Well, Saudi Arabia has already filled out the application. They're just waiting for the okay. They're joining Brics. You have the Biden administration that flew over there a couple of months ago with a 5-gallon plastic gas can begging for fuel. They basically gave him the middle finger and laughed him right out of Saudi Arabia, then turned around and OPEC decreased production by 2 million barrels. So the Western currency is now, the world currency will become a basket of currencies. And what do I mean by that? Well, you're going to have the Russian ruble, you're going to have the Chinese yen or yang or whatever it's called. So there's going to be a basket of currency, and these currencies are going to be backed by assets. How do I know this? Because I have Andy from Miles Franklin that comes on my show quite a bit, and he explains all this to us. So that basket means that all these currencies are backed by gold, by diamonds, by petrol, whatever that country has for a hard asset. And that is how their currency is going to be backed, because fiat currency is gone. What is fiat currency? Fiat currency is the Western dollar, the American dollar, which is founded on debt. President Nixon in 1971 took us from a gold-backed note, which you would have been able to go down to any bank with a dollar bill and exchange that for whatever amount of gold. That's gone. It disappeared in 1971. Everything is fiat currency, which is on debt. It's a debt note, and it's going to be absolutely worthless here very soon when the collapse happens.
Oh, wow. Could you? Okay, so I've never heard of this. What is Brics? What is this? Could you expound on that a little bit more? This is wow.
You didn't know what you were going to get into when you invited LW up on the show.
LW, I love you, man. I love you. I appreciate you, man. You are enlightening me right now. But can you explain that for myself and the audience? What is Brics? What is this? This is like a world.
Let me give you some homework, Neil. Let me give you some homework. You're a researcher, and I love your show. Research Brics and research the Belt Road Initiative. The Belt Road Initiative is a road that they're building from Asia to Europe. It connects 80% of the world's revenue and population. It's a big freaking deal, okay? The Belt Road Initiative, once it's complete, that's where the Brics nations come together, and the world currency will become Brics. It's not going to be the Western dollar anymore. And who's getting hung out to dry? Canada, America, South America, but the South American countries research Brics. Venezuela, Nicaragua. There's 3 or 4 South America countries that's already signed up for Brics. It's a big deal, and I think your audience really should pay attention. And you need to do some research on this and enlighten your audience so that they're paying attention and they know what to expect. Because if people are not prepping for this and prepared for this, it could be a very hard road for them when the collapse happens and they're like, well, how come nobody told me about this?
Okay. Well, jeez, this is heavy, man. This is heavy. No, but you know, I'm very
not
grateful.
Trying to scare anybody. Listen,
no,
people can flourish. People can flourish. People will survive. We'll help one another out. We are God's children. This is nothing that people should just curl up in the closet and die. This is something that you educate yourself. Okay, that's the first step, is education. Neil educates himself. Neil educates his audience. His audience educates family and friends. And then the second step is to prepare yourselves and just do what you can to just buckle down and build a buffer, because when this hits, it'll be worse than the 1929 depression. I promise you.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll make 2008 look like a picnic.
Oh my gosh! As you're talking, I can't help but to think that we're gonna somehow revert to the barter system or something here. That's what it's kind of what's coming to me. Yeah, I mean, wow.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen,
I'm prepared to barter. I'm prepared to barter, and a lot of my listeners are prepared to barter, but this is what's going to happen. We got 2 realities. Well, we have multiple realities, but there's 2 that I focus on mostly. The Great Reset, which I'm sure you're aware of, the World Economic Forum's Great Reset, where you will own nothing, you'll eat crickets, and you'll be happy. That's the evil, right? So we got good and we got evil. The evil is the Great Reset, and the good is the Great Awakening, which I believe that we will have an economic reset. But when it resets, there's going to be debt free. There's the debt's going to, a lot of it may be possibly going away. And then you're going to see where the value of the dollar will have a new currency, and it will be gold backed, and it will be more valuable. They're talking about value clear back to the 1950s. And it's very possible. But these realities that we live in, it's up to us to do the work to make the determination on which reality we're going to get. If we all just sit there and do nothing, we're going to get that reality of the Great Reset, which is you'll own nothing, eat crickets, and be happy. And we're all going to be just nothing but a bunch of slaves to the society that they create. And I'm not going to stand for it.
I agree. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why I put so much emphasis on uniting. We have to be a united front. As much as it may appear that we are helpless and we may not have the wherewithal to circumnavigate what's happening today. But ladies and gentlemen, I will say this to you guys, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. We still have the power. We have the power. And it's they're afraid of us. That's one of the main things, that the main reasons why they have to divide us is because if we come together as a united front on core values, principles, and what we stand for and what we will not allow, that petrifies them. So I think it's so important that we have these conversations. I'm not sure who. You still there, LW? I think I might have lost him there. I'm not sure who came up with the saying, let's not talk about politics and religion. Listen, I'm not saying that you should have a contentious argument with your family members or anything like that, but we have to have these conversations. There he is. Let me pull him back here. All right. Thought I lost you there for a second. Yeah.
Probably my internet.
No,
But I was hearing you say, that we have the power, and this is something, Neil, that I believe with all my heart, and I even tattooed it on my arm.
Oh,
We
check
the
that
people,
out. That's nice.
We have the power, and it is our decision on the direction that this nation goes.
Yep.
And I truly believe that I have to follow the path that God has laid before me, and we all have to follow that path, and we got to put God first in this country and in this nation and in our homes and our lives and our hearts, because if not, it's not going to be a good thing for any of us. You think it's bad now, it's going to get a whole lot worse if we don't unite.
Wow. Okay, I got some homework to do, guys. I've got some homework to do. Lord, LW, listen, man. I am so thankful that you came on to my show and shared all of this information. This is a lot of it's some of the things you discussed. I've tried to lay out to the audience as well, but I've learned a lot, man, and it just kind of puts me. It puts me in a better position about where I am. It's more of a reassurance that I know I am where I am supposed to be at in life at this very point in my life, and I really appreciate that.
Brother.
Absolutely, I really appreciate that because again, I know this is God is over us right now. God is watching this, and that's why. Oh darn! I thought today was Watchmen Wednesdays, but we're gonna have to come up with a theme similar or something nonetheless. But man, any closing thoughts before we wrap it up, man? I really appreciate you.
Well, I just want to say to your audience, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that Lori put us together and allow me come up on your show and just have an honest conversation between two brothers who love Jesus Christ and want the best for all Americans, man.
Absolutely.
I want the best for everybody, and we have to unite. And I just hope that I could bring something to the table tonight for your audience that maybe they didn't know. Maybe give them a little bit of homework to go do some research. This crazy LW, maybe he's not as crazy as he seemed. Maybe he does know what he's talking about. And like I said, I would enjoy coming back anytime you need me, brother.
Yes.
I definitely want to schedule you to come over on my channel, on my show, and present you to my audience, because I think you have a wonderful tone about you on how you present information. And it's actually, this has been a very fun conversation with you, even backstage. And, I'm reading some of the chat. You got almost 60 people in here earlier. I saw watching live. So I see a lot of my good, loving people in there. So I'm just so excited that we made this connection, brother, because this is just the beginning, man.
Absolutely.
You just wait. We're going to help unite this country, and we're going to take this country back, and we're going to make America great again.
We're going to make America great again, folks. Oh, man, ladies and gentlemen, please, to all of my subscribers, guys, if you haven't checked this guy out, what are you doing? You living under a rock? Go subscribe to it's Liberty Warrior, right? Say that right. Go
Liberty Warrior Nation on Facebook, YouTube.
Yes.
We're on Rumble. You can find us. We're out there.
Go subscribe to this guy right now at this very moment. Please, again, guys, we have to do this together. I mean, the left, these radicals, these demonic forces, they work in solidarity. So we have to do the same. So I appreciate you, Mike. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm so grateful that you came on, man. And guys, you guys know how we close this out. You already know we are speaking truth and reality. And I promise you, we will reinstitute morality. Have a good night.
And you ain't black.